Hi. Well, today, you can see I'm in kind of a different location. I'm actually in my office, in my home. And part of the reason for this, well, there's two reasons for this, right? Okay, part of the reason is because it's absolutely hammering it down with rain outside, what with it being like middle of rainy season and all that kind of thing. And the other reason is that today I'm going to be talking about the Trecena of Aj, which is all about the home, right? And so I figured that I'd invite you today into my office, into my home. Sorry it's a bit dark. Hopefully I'll be able to lighten it up a little bit so you'll be able to have a look. Some of you may be familiar with this place. If you've had readings with me, maybe done a course with me or something like that. This is the office that I work in. This is my cross that I was presented with at my initiation. And this is kind of like the heart of my work, the heart of my home. So I thought this would be a great place to make this Aj video, this Trecena of Aj video. And there's something which always comes back to me when I talk about the Trecena of Aj, because of course we've just been through the Trecena of Ajpu. We've gone on this journey, we've gone and found our higher self, we've gone and found our hero self and all this kind of thing. And Aj is saying, right, okay, great, now what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use that energy that you have followed to take you into a higher realm, and to take you into finding out more about yourself, what your possibilities are? How are you going to use it to benefit your community? And I also wanted to take an opportunity right now to say a big thank you as well. The other day, I happened to end up on Odin's website. So if you've been watching my videos, you're pretty aware that I'm often kind of promoting Odin and, kind of talking about the work that they do with regards to health and education in San Pablo and in San Juan. And they're a really great organization. I went on their website and it really made my heart smile to see how many people had said, they'd seen Odin on one of my videos and chosen to make a donation. So thank you to all of you who've chosen to do that. This is the wonderful thing that we can all do together. So thank you. So Aj, what's it all about? Well, here we are. Here's an Aj. Here's a baston. Here is a staff of office. Here is a stick which we use to agitate the fire, which we use to move the fire around when we're making the fire ceremony. Now, of course, if we're holding the stick, then that's kind of like showing that we have some kind of authority within the circle. This is also what Aj is about, and we've been given that authority. We've been given the training. We've been given the understanding. We've been given the task to take the authority to move the fire with the staff. This authority is something which we have earned. It's something which we've shown our skill, we've shown our understanding, and we've chosen to take on that authority because we've got to keep our wits about us as well. We can't afford to sort of fall asleep by the fire. We've got a job to do. And for me, these are all things which are encapsulating that Aj energy. Aj, the one who is chosen for their love of the community. Aj, the one who is chosen because they stand up straight and tall. Because they are the ones that stand up for the people that have no voice. They are the ones who have sometimes the unpopular opinion, as it were, because what they're interested in is the good of the community, the good of the society, the good of the family. And sometimes that's not always kind of going to be through the popular opinion. And so this is what we've come to. We've gone through the Ajpu Trecena. We've proven ourselves as the mighty hero. We've got our legendary weapon, as it were, or whatever that might be, our insight that we've come back from our hero's journey with. And now it's time to employ that into our community, to make our community a better place. And so we're going to start the Trecena of Aj with the day 1 Aj, the beginning. It's the beginning of leadership. the beginning of standing up for things, the beginning of having a spine, as we might say, And the thing about Aj, as I said, it is a position that we are elected to, and this form of election is not through some kind of big media marketing campaign and social media and all that kind of thing. It's through proving your worth within the community. People understand, this person really has the good of the community in their heart. They want to see everyone flourish. They want to see the children flourish. They want to see peace. They want to see harmony. And so it brings about a new beginning. Now, we could also say there is a certain amount of Aj that we could see as being slightly reluctant within their leadership. It's not that they're not prepared to stand up for things, they certainly are, but they're not in it for fame and fortune and kind of like being able to wear a little badge saying I'm the leader or whatever it might be. They're in it because they want everything to flourish. And so this leadership role that we take on for the good of our people, for the good of our community, this is what Aj is all about. Using our talents, using our strength, using our commitment to help to make our community a better place. And one Aj brings about the potential for that. It brings about the potential for a new effort within this harmony, a new effort within the community to stand up for what is right. We can also see if Aj is connected with the home, one Aj might bring about the conditions. It might be the Trecena, where we might say we might be looking for a new home. We might be starting a new home. It's an excellent day, of course, to arrive in a new home, to initiate a new home. So if you're in the process of house moving, one Aj would be a wonderful day to be working on that. After one Aj comes to Ish. So Ish, the Nawal of the mother, the Nawal of our connection with Mother Earth. Ish, the Nawal of the jaguar, of the sacred sites, the altars and the shrines. And here we see it paired with the number 2. The number 2, which can represent lovers, can represent duality, and it can also represent self-sacrifice. And I think, firstly, I want to focus on that, because it's about giving back, right? It's about our own self-sacrifice that we might make on behalf of Mother Earth, that we might make on behalf of what we receive from her, on behalf of what we connect with, our ability to use the shrines, to work at the shrines and the altars. To Ish is about making a bit of sacrifice, giving something back for all that we've received through our work. We also see it as our connection with the feminine essence through Ish and making our offering through that. We see it as the duality, the dualistic nature that we can also see within that. Give and take, I think. And so, again, a great day to go out and do a clean up, work within your community, work within your environment to make your community a better place by looking after Mother Earth. After 2 Ish comes 3 Tz'ikin. Tz'ikin, the prosperity Nawal, the one who is looking to the future to see how things can prosper, the one who is looking to the future to see what could be brought in, how we can make a prosperous community, how we can make a prosperous society for our children, for our grandchildren. It's not just for us. Tz'ikin is looking to the future, and so when we're creating that prosperity with Tz'ikin, when we're bringing in that vision, it's how can we help everything to thrive, including our environment, because if our environment doesn't thrive, our kids aren't going to thrive, and neither are our grandkids. We've got to make sure that everybody is thriving with this. And so this gives us the ability to bring in that vision from Tz'ikin. But where are we getting it from? Where are we looking for it on the day 3 Tz'ikin? On the day 3 Tz'ikin, we're looking for it within. This is about bringing out our inner vision. Now, I would imagine that anybody that is becoming a leader within their community or is put forward as a leader in their community is somebody that has to have an inner vision, something that we have to tap into. Because if we don't have any vision about where our community is going, then what are we leading with? Where are we leading to? And, if we're asking, well, where do we get that vision from? Within. What does the 3 also represent? The home. What does Aj represent? The home. So one Aj, the new home or the new leadership within the home, within the community, is also fueled by the vision for home, the vision that comes from within. And so 3 Tz'ikin is a great day to take some time in meditation or seclusion to focus on what that inner vision that you hold is. What vision do you have for this possibly new home that you're kind of trying to create? After 3 Tz'ikin comes 4 Ajmak. Ajmak. This is a day of forgiveness, a day of pardon. Ajmak is a day of accepting ourselves and others as the human beings that we are. And we're not perfect, right? I mean, that's just what being a human is all about. We're as perfect as we can be. We try hard. We don't always get it right. Sometimes we fall over. Most of the time, we're busy getting back up again and it's all working out and all that kind of thing. But we have to remember within that about forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. And here we see it in combination with the number 4, representing the physical plane of existence. The 4 representing the 4 directions. Okay? So this is about the material realm. This is about material forgiveness. And so it is about, for me, well, we might say putting your money where your mouth is. It's about actually physically going and showing signs of forgiveness. Okay, so we're not just paying it lip service, actually kind of like making things right in whatever way, shape or form they need to be made. And putting, kind of like going and doing it on a physical level. It can also be kind of like where forgiveness is needed for, past physical acts or something along that kind of line. And so it gives us this day to go through that redemption process, because again, if we're looking at it from the point of view of a new home, if we're looking at it from the point of view of, stepping into this new role of leadership, we can't be blaming and shaming and carrying grudges. We're supposed to have risen above that to go into that leadership kind of thing. So for Ajmak, right, let's clear that slate. Let's kind of like go and make physical reparations to make sure that that forgiveness comes about. From 4 Ajmak, we're then going into 5 Noch. We've got to have a plan, right? Noch. All this information, all the books, all the kind of like knowledge that we carry, all getting stored up here. We've got to get it put together. Is it just going to come together on its own? No, we've got to put some effort into it. We've got to put some energy into it. And so 5 Noch is the day about putting our work into our plans, putting our energy into our plans. Great, so you've got an idea about how to make your community better, how, you're going to guide or lead or whatever the case may be to help to make your community better. But have you really worked on the plan? Maybe it needs a touch more detail. Maybe it needs a touch more energy applied so you can really understand how you're going to execute that plan. Have you got all the information? Maybe you need to work through a few more sources, a few more books before you can really come up with a plan which is going to bring that leadership potential into action. 5 Noch is a day to go think about it, to go put your energy into your thought process. Again, it could be a rather introspective day in a way. You know, it may involve research. That research may take you out of your home or whatever. But it can also be, you know, kind of like a day with the books, as it were. You know, really going into the fine print of your plan or your idea and making sure that you've worked it all through. From 5 Noch, we're then going into 6 Tijax. So see, when I'm up here, I've got all my props with me as well. There's my Tijax. There's my obsidian blade. Okay? This blade, this is a rough one. The weapon of the warrior, the tool of the healer. Tijax, the one who cuts away. And here we see it paired with the number 6. The number 6, which can represent ultimate stability, because we have the 4 of the physical plane combined with the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth. But it can also represent family. And what is Tijax? Tijax is the purifier. Tijax is the one who's cutting away the disease, or cutting away the unholy, or cutting away the mundane in order to bring out the divine. Tijax, the Nawal of healing. And here we see that healing applied to family. Again, we're seeing the action of the leader within the home or within the community. It's like we're helping to heal the family by removing what is out of balance, by removing what may be causing dis-ease. So, 6 Tijax, great day for family healing. 6 Tijax, also, you know, kind of like sometimes we've got to make that cut. Sometimes we've got to, you know, like if we see the number 6 as being ultimate stability, also ultimate balance in a way, 6 Tijax understands where to make the cuts to bring perfect balance to the family, which is part of that leadership, which is part of that reinitiation of harmony within the home, which is what the Trecena is all about. After 6 Tijax comes 7 Kawok. Kawok, rainstorm. Kawok, the midwife, who's bringing the new into the world. Kawok, the one who is washing away the debris. We can also look at it as the assistant to the birth process. The number 7 that we can see as endings, as finalization. It's like the final push in the birth process. Okay, we're bringing something new into the world. That new thing is going to come in 1 Kawok, which is going to be in a while's time and all that kind of thing. 7 Kawok is the one which ends it. Okay, it is the one which is saying, right, okay, labor is done. Our final push is born new into the world. I also see Kawok as very much a leadership Nawal, a feminine leadership Nawal. I've seen in particular some Kawok women that I know stand up very strongly and gain respect where it was not necessarily a given that they would receive it. And we see these Kawok women having this presence, this authority, this leadership skill. And the 7 is bringing it to its conclusion, it's bringing it to its end. It is the birth process being finalized. What we're bringing into the world, right, okay, now it's done. It has been born. The final push has happened. And what have we born? Ajpu. The wholeness of the sun, the return of the light. Ajpu, well, we just come out of the Ajpu Trecena, we're going into the Trecena, 8 Ajpu being in the middle of it. The celebration of the sun, the celebration of the light. 8 being the ceremonial day. Ajpu representing the sun, representing the light, representing the hero or the God self or goddess self within each and every one of us. Our highest aspect, what we can aspire to, and sitting right in the middle of the Trecena, of course, because this is the ceremony that we make to ask for that energy to come to us, the energy of the hero, so that we can have the strength to fulfill our duties as a leader, so that we can have the guidance of the upper world come into it as well. That's part of it as well. So that we can give thanks for every sunrise. So that we can give thanks for the divine guidance that we receive on our path. These are things that we are likely to engage with on the 8 Ajpu day. If we're making our ceremony, it's a ceremony to give thanks for the help that we've received on our divine journey, the guidance that we've received from our allies and our mentors on our hero's journey. This is what we're moving forwards into. And so 8 Ajpu gives us the opportunity to see all of it in one go. Now, Ajpu also helps us to identify the holy in our world. And here we see it combined with the number 8, which can represent the passage through the light and the passage through the darkness. Now, as such, it represents the whole. It's seeing the whole as divine, which once again, to be that balanced, harmonious leader is something that we need to understand, the divine part which is seen in the whole. From 8 Ajpu, we're then going into 9 Imox. Imox representing the lake, Imox representing the water and the ocean. And the number 9 here representing the essence of the feminine, also representing life. So it's the waters of life is one way that we can see it. Of course, 9 Imox, it's got a huge amount of femininity to it. I see Imox as a feminine Nawal because it's connected to the waters. And when we add the 9 into it, I mean, this is an essentially feminine Nawal. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised to find it as the true Nawal of Lake Aq'ab'al. And so, here we are on 9 Imox. What can we do? We can make a clean-up. We can work with the lake. We can make sure that the bodies of waters that nourish us, the bodies of waters that give us life, we can work with them. We can give thanks to them. We can also see Imox as representing our dream. And as such, we can see, this is the day to bring our dreams to life. So 9 Imox can be a very, very powerful day. Interestingly enough, the 9 has this independent streak to it. And sometimes, Imox can be very empathic. It's feeling everything around it. And there's this almost balance for 9 Imox, because the 9 brings a sense of individuality. Imox brings empathy. So when we bring them together, we can empathize with the dreams of others, but hopefully kind of like retain our own dreams within that as well. Once again, when we see that from the field of leadership of the community, this is a rather good balance to have. From 9 Imox, we're then going into 10 Ik. So now we're going to tell people about it, right? Ik, the Nawal of the wind. Ik, the Nawal of the divine breath, of the communication, of the word. Here, with the number 10, representing the hands coming together, representing society. This is your speech-making day. As the new candidate within the arena of leadership, as it were, 10 Ik is where you go to announce to your community how you're going to do it, what you're going to do, what you're going to bring to the community, how and why you want it to be happening in that way. Ik, of course, has a very powerful way with words. And I think this is one of the things which, I don't want to talk about modern politics too much, but there's a very interesting thing in there because, it's kind of like, it feels to me like people are no longer held to their word. Ik gives our words great impact. When we start using our words on 10 Ik, people are going to take them to heart. And if 10 Ik is our communication with our community, then it's a great day, of course, to get your words out to the community. But you may also find that your community takes them to heart. And throughout that Aj process, you may find that your community says, hey, well, what about that you said? On that 10 Ik day when you made your announcement, when you made your speech, are you living up to that manifesto that you're working with, that you're announcing? And so it's very important that when we talk, when we express ourselves, particularly on Ik days, firstly, we say what we mean. And secondly, our words might have an impact that is, I was going to say, beyond our comprehension. We didn't realise it was going to have such a big impact. So be aware of what words you actually want to get out to the public, what you want to get out to your community on that day. Because yes, they can be great and inspiring, and yes, they might be very, very helpful and that kind of thing. And that would be awesome. But if we're making words, if we're using words that we're not living up to, then we've got to be very, very careful with that as well. Because there's nothing that's going to dent our role within community like that. From 10 Ik, we're then going into 11 Aq'ab'al. Aq'ab'al, the dawn and the dusk, the twilight. And the number 11, drawing in many different areas, many different regions. And so 11 Aq'ab'al, we could see as being, kind of like shining the light in many different directions. I often see Aq'ab'al as like the revealing. When you've kind of gone to a new place late at night, you've arrived in the darkness, you don't know what it looks like. It's not until twilight arrives and you're like, oh, look at the forest, look at the meadows, however it might be. Because it comes to light. Because the sunrise happens and out it comes. Now, that's one way of looking at it. Aq'ab'al is about bringing new concepts into the world, but where does that come from? Well, on that 11 day, it's suggesting it might come from unusual places, let's say. When we look in the cross of bats, we see Aq'ab'al is the conception sign. This is the threads which we are then going to weave with bats. And so Aq'ab'al gives us a day to go and find our threads, our concepts that we're going to bring into something in the future. Now, with the 11, this is about going all sorts of unusual places in order to find threads that we might not normally think that fit together even. Maybe they're unusual colours or something like that. When we look at it, kind of like from a more balanced standpoint as such, what we can see is that this is the day to go off the usual path in order to find new concepts that you're going to bring into your community. Because, if your community doesn't need anything doing, you don't really need to be there, right? If your community needs change, then it can't continue with the same concepts that it's been working with, and so you need to go and find some new ones. And if you're following a straight path to go get them, chances are you're not going to find anything that's going to change it too much. You need to go off the beaten track to go and find these threads which are going to create a totally new colour tapestry. Okay, and so 11 Aq'ab'al, it might be confusing. It might be, kind of like you're going this way, then you're going that way, but that's the places where you're going to find those new concepts to bring into the world. From 11 Aq'ab'al, we go into 12 Cat. So Cat, the Nawal of the net. Cat, the Nawal of taking a harvest, of multiplication. Now, the interesting thing is that the 12 can also represent bringing together of all of life's experiences. It's about bundling. So is Cat. So it's like bundle, bundle. Those two things put together. Cat teaches us how to take seeds, plant them, and multiply them. How to put things in our net and make more of them. How to carry what we need with us and to let go of what we don't need. And as we go through this Trecena of Aj, once again working with our leadership ability, or however we might want to look at it, it's like, right, okay, what do I need to carry in my bag as I prepare my bag, which I am going to move forward with as a leader of community, society, project, whatever it might be. What's going to help me that I had in my last project, and what is irrelevant? What experience do I need, and what experience do I not need? What can I let go of? Okay, so 12 Cat gives you the ability to do that. It's a wonderful day for sorting out all of life experience, right? Because maybe there's stuff that's you've been hanging on to. Maybe it's stuff which is stopping you from stepping forward and saying what needs to be said. Maybe it's stuff which is holding you back from moving into that leadership position that your community needs from you. Maybe it's attachments that are holding you back. Maybe you just got to make some space in your bag. Well, 12 Cat is the day to do it. Look through your life experiences. Work out which ones are going to help to take you forward and which ones are holding you back. It's a great decluttering day, but it's a decluttering from life. And so it's a very, very powerful day to let go of life experiences that no longer serve you. And then finally, we move into 13 Can, a very, very powerful day. Can, the Nawal of the body energy, the Nawal of the body lightning. Can, the Nawal which can represent our sexuality. It can also represent our wisdom, and it can represent power. In its highest form, Can represents our teachers, the teachers who pass on their wisdom to us. And here we see it connected with the number 13, the number 13 which can represent spirit and can represent the ancestors. And so we see two things come in there. You know, it's kind of like teaching that comes directly from spirit. It's the wisdom of the ancestors, the day of ancestral wisdom. 13 Can. It can also represent the sorcerer that creates the illusion that we can't see through. It's the day of, well, certainly kind of like in some ways, the ancestral or spiritual teacher as well. You may receive your messages, you may come to a sudden wisdom. And of course, when we look at it from the point of view of this leader within the Trecena of Aj, where are they going? What's drawing them forwards to the end of the Trecena? Ancestral wisdom. That's what they employ. That's how they keep their community in harmony. And so this is something to tap into on that day 13 Can. It is a day to tap into ancestral wisdom in whatever way, shape or form that might take. Now, I talked about Can and illusions. What do teachers help us to do? They help us to see through them. What does Can help us to do? It helps us to tap into the wisdom, which helps us to see through the illusion. What does 13 Can do? Suggests that wisdom comes from the ancestors. Suggests that spirit helps us to see through the illusions which may have been created for us, so that we can create a better society, so that we can create more harmony in our community. So it's a powerful day, and again, a day where you might choose to sit in ceremony, a day where you might choose to connect in a mediumistic or however meditative form to receive that wisdom, because it's going to help to guide you forwards, it's going to help you to see through illusions, and it's going to help you to see through and over those who might try to have power over you. So it can be a very, very, very useful day. It can also be a very, very powerful day. So it's a day to certainly kind of like a little goes a long way on a 13 Can day. So it may well be that that wisdom comes to you whether you are really seeking it or not. So I hope that's been of interest for you. I hope that you've enjoyed the props and the background and something a bit different to see this time. And I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Aj. Thank you.